Captain Lee Hyun stood on the bridge of the Uzermany, watching the massive space station grow larger on the main screen. Nexus Prime was the biggest structure he had ever seen. Ships from dozens of different alien races moved around it like insects around a bright light. Some were long and thin like needles, others were round like balls. A few looked like they were made of crystal. "We are getting close to the docking bay," said Lieutenant Kim Sora from her position at the controls. "The station is asking us to follow the green lights." Lehigh nodded. He had been to Nexus Prime many times before, but it never stopped being amazing. The station was neutral ground where all the different alien races could meet and talk. It was where the Galactic Council made decisions that affected billions of beings across the galaxy. "Any word from Ambassador Park?" he asked. "She is already on the station," replied Communications Officer Rotail. "She says the meeting will start in 2 hours. Lee Hyun looked at his reflection in the dark screen. He was wearing his best uniform, the one with all the medals and ribbons. But he knew the aliens did not care about human decorations. To them, humans were still new to space. They had only been part of the galactic community for 37 years. That was nothing compared to races that had been traveling between stars for thousands of years. The Harmony shook slightly as it connected to the docking bay. Lee Hyun could hear the metal clanging as the airlock sealed. Soon he would be breathing alien air again. "Captain," said Lieutenant Kim Sora, "we are getting reports from the outer colonies. There has been another attack." Lee Hyun's good mood disappeared. "Where?" "New Bizon, the Vorthak hit them again, same as last time. They came in fast, destroyed some buildings, killed people, then left." Lee Hyun closed his eyes. New Bizon was a peaceful farming colony. The people there grew food and minded their own business. They had no weapons except basic security tools. When the Vorthak attacked, the colonists could only hide and hope to survive. "How many dead?" he asked. 3,000, Kim Sora said quietly. The bridge went silent. 3,000 people. Men, women, children. All dead because the Vorthak Empire thought humans were weak. "Send a message to Earth Command, Lee," Hyun said. "Tell them what happened. Ask for instructions." "Yes, sir." Lee Hyun left the bridge and walked through the corridors of his ship. The Harmony looked like a diplomatic vessel should look. Clean white walls, comfortable rooms. Art from Earth hanging in the hallways. There were no visible weapons. No armor. Plating. Nothing that would make aliens think humans were dangerous. That was exactly what Earth wanted on Nexus Prime. Ambassador Park Gina was already in the Great Council chamber. She sat at the human table, which was small and near the back. The bigger, more important alien races had tables near the center. The Vorthak Empire had a huge table right in front of the speaker's platform. Park Gina was 50 years old and had been dealing with aliens for most of her career. She knew how to smile and speak politely even when she wanted to scream. Today would test that skill more than usual. The chamber was enormous. The ceiling was so high that it disappeared into shadows. Hundreds of alien delegates filled the space. Some breathed oxygen like humans. Others wore special suits filled with different gases. A few floated in tanks of liquid. "The council will come to order," said the speaker, a tall blue creature with 4 arms. "First on today's agenda is the complaint from Earth about recent activities in human space." Park Gina stood up and walked to the center of the chamber. All eyes turned to her. Some of those eyes were kind. Many were not. She could feel the weight of their attention. "Honored delegates," she began, once again, "I must bring to your attention the unprovoked attacks on human colonies by forces of the Vorthak Empire." A sound like laughter came from the Vorthak section. Warlord Gextar was a massive creature covered in green scales. His mouth was full of sharp teeth and his eyes glowed red. He did not stand up when he spoke. "The human speaks of attacks," Gextar said in his deep, rumbling voice. "But we only conduct training exercises in empty space. If humans choose to put their colonies in the way, that is their problem." More alien voices joined in what sounded like agreement. Park Gina kept her face calm, but inside she was furious. "Training exercises. They called the murder of 3,000 people a training exercise. The colony of New Bizan is clearly marked on all star charts as human territory, Park Gina said. The people there were civilians, farmers and their families. Space is big, said another Vorthak voice. Sometimes there are mistakes. Park Gina looked around the chamber. She could see that most of the delegates were not taking this seriously. To them, humans were just complaining again. They did this every few months when another colony got attacked. The humans would make speeches, file protests, and ask for justice. Then nothing would happen. We request that the Council take action to prevent these attacks, Park Gina said. Human colonies are peaceful. We pose no threat to anyone. Exactly, said Gextar. No threat at all. The way he said it made Park Gina's blood run cold. It was not just dismissive. It was hungry. Like a predator looking at prey far away on Earth. In a deep bunker beneath the city of Seoul, General Kim Tae-ho was watching the council meeting on a large screen. Around him, dozens of military officers studied displays showing star maps, fleet positions, and weapon status reports. How much longer do we keep playing nice? He asked his aide, Colonel Bae Minho. Bae Minho looked uncomfortable. The president wants us to maintain the peaceful approach, sir. He thinks we can still solve this with diplomacy. Kim Tae-ho laughed, but there was no humor in it. Diplomacy? While our people die. He pressed a button on his chair, and the wall behind him became transparent. Through the clear material, Bae Minho could see into an enormous underground chamber. Massive war machines filled the space. Tanks the size of buildings, mechs that stood 50 meters tall, weapons that could destroy entire fleets. Look at all of this, Kim Tae-ho said. We have been building for 40 years. Ships that can destroy. Planets, soldiers who can fight anything in the galaxy. Weapons the aliens cannot even imagine. And we keep it all hidden while they kill our people. Bae Minho nodded slowly. He had seen the reports from the outer colonies. Every few months, another attack. Sometimes it was the Vorthak. Sometimes it was the Zilithian Consortium. Sometimes it was pirates who thought human ships were easy targets. Earth always responded the same way. Diplomatic protests. Requests for justice, offers to negotiate. The aliens would ignore them or make excuses. Then a few months later, it would happen again. The sleeper agents are in position, Bae Minho reported. Director Choi has people on every major alien world. They have been gathering intelligence for years. Good, Kim Tae-ho said. When this finally ends, we will be ready. Back on Nexus Prime, the council meeting was ending. Ambassador Park Gina had made her speech. The aliens had listened politely and promised to look into the matter. It was the same response she had gotten dozens of times before. As the delegates filed out of the chamber, Gextar approached her. Up close, he was even more intimidating. He was twice as tall as a human and probably 10 times as strong. Human, he said, you waste the council's time with your complaints. Maybe you should teach your people to stay out of the way. Park Gina looked up at him without fear. Maybe you should teach your people the difference between military exercises and murder. Gextar's eyes flashed with anger. Careful, little human. We have been patient with your kind. But patience has limits. Yes, Park Gina said quietly. It does. Something in her tone made Gextar pause. For just a moment he looked uncertain. Then he turned and walked away, his heavy footsteps echoing through the chamber. Park Gina watched him go. She touched the small communication device hidden in her jacket. Soon, she would need to make a very important call to Earth, the kind of call she had hoped never to make. The masquerade was getting harder to maintain. How much longer could humanity pretend to be weak while their people died? How much longer could they smile and ask nervously while aliens laughed at them? She did not. No, but she had a feeling they would find out soon. The alarm woke Han Ji-woo from a deep sleep. She rolled out of bed in her small apartment on Kepler 442b and ran to the window. Outside, she could see lights in the sky. Not the usual soft glow of the colony's transport ships. These lights were moving fast and coming down toward the planet. All colonists report to emergency stations, said the voice over the communication system. This is not a drill. Unknown ships are approaching the colony. Han Ji-woo grabbed her clothes and ran outside. As the colony administrator, she had trained for this day many times. She just hoped she would never need to use that training. Kepler 442b was a mining colony with 50,000 people. Most of them were families who had come to make a better life among the stars. They dug useful metals from the ground and sent them back to Earth. In return, Earth sent them supplies, medicine, and news from home. The colony had basic defenses. Some small guns to keep away space pirates. Shields to protect against asteroids. But nothing that could stop a real military attack. Administrator Han called Security Chief Park Jin-woo as he ran up to her. We are getting reports from our sensors. It's a big fleet. Maybe 100 ships. Han Ji-woo felt her stomach drop. Can you tell who they are? The computer says they are Vorthak and Zilithian ships. They are working together. This was bad news. The Vorthak were strong fighters, but not very smart. The Zilithians were smart, but not very strong. Together they would be much more dangerous. How long until they get here? Han Ji-woo asked. 20 minutes, maybe less. Han Ji-woo activated her emergency communicator. This is Kepler 442b colony to any Earth ships in the area. We need immediate help. Large alien fleet approaching. Please. Respond. The only answer was static. Meanwhile, Captain Lee Hyun was sitting in his quarters on the Harmony when the emergency message came through. He listened to the recording 3 times, his face getting darker each time. Sir, said Lieutenant Commander Yoon Sul-ji from the doorway, we are the only Earth ship within range. It would take us 6 hours to get there. Lee Hyun stood up and looked out the small window at the stars. Somewhere out there, 50,000 humans were about to die. And he was supposed to sit here and do nothing because his ship was diplomatic. What? Are our orders from Earth Command? He asked. Yoon Sul-ji looked uncomfortable. We are to maintain our peaceful mission. Do not engage in combat. Try to document what happens for later diplomatic protest. Document what happens, Lee Hyun repeated slowly. Take pictures while people die. Sir, I don't like it either, but I know, Lee Hyun said. It's not your fault. Get me a channel to Earth Command, priority 1. While Lee Hyun waited for the connection, Chief Engineer Nam Hoseok appeared on his personal communicator. Nam Hoseok was not supposed to know about certain things, but he was smart and had been asking questions. Captain, Nam Hoseok said quietly, I've been looking at our ship's real specifications, the ones in the sealed files. We're not really just a diplomatic vessel, are we? Lee Hyun sighed. What do you mean? Our engines are 3 times more powerful than they should be. Our hull is made of military-grade armor, not civilian materials. And there are weapon ports hidden behind panels all over the ship. You are not supposed to know about that. I'm the chief engineer, sir. It's my job to know how this ship works. Nam Hoseok paused. We could help those people, couldn't we? Lee Hyun did not answer. He could not answer. His orders were clear. But 50,000 people were going to die. On Kepler 442b, the alien ships were getting closer. Han Ji-woo had evacuated all the children to the underground shelters. The adults were at their emergency positions. Some had small weapons. Most just had tools and hope. Administrator, said Park Jin-woo, the alien. Ships are sending a message. Put it through. The main screen in the command center lit up. A Vorthak face appeared, all teeth and glowing red eyes. Humans, the alien said, you have built your colony in our space. Leave now or die. This is registered human territory. Han Ji-woo replied, you have no claim here. The Vorthak laughed. We claim it now. You have 10 minutes to evacuate. After that, we will take what we want and kill anyone who remains. The transmission ended. Han Ji-woo looked around at her people. They were scared but determined. Many of them had left Earth to build something better. They were not going to give up easily. Can we fight them? Asked Dr. Lee Min-young, the colony's head physician. Park Jin-woo shook his head. We have maybe 20 small guns. They have 100 warships. It would be like fighting tanks with sticks. Far away on Nexus Prime, Ambassador Park Gina was having an emergency meeting with representatives from several alien races. The news of the attack on Kepler 442b had reached the station quickly. "This is exactly what we warned you about," Park Gina said to the group. "The attacks are getting bigger and more organized. Perhaps your people should not build colonies so far from Earth," suggested Counselor Vrexmuth from the Krillian Federation. "Space is dangerous. If humans cannot protect themselves, maybe they should stay closer to home." Park Gina stared at him. "Are you seriously suggesting that humans deserve to be attacked because we are not strong enough to stop it?" "I am suggesting that the strong survive and the weak do not," Vrexmuth replied. "This is how nature works. Maybe humans need to learn their place in the galaxy." The other aliens in the room nodded in agreement. Park Gina felt something cold settle in her chest. These beings were supposed to be civilized. They were supposed to believe in justice and peace. But when it came to humans, they thought like predators. "Learn their place?" she repeated quietly. "Yes," said Vrexmuth. "Except that you are not as advanced as older races. Except that you must earn respect through strength, not words." Park Gina stood up slowly. For 37 years, she had been diplomatic. She had been patient. She had believed that reasonable beings could work together to solve problems. "Thank you for making your position clear," she said. "I will be sure to include your comments in my report to Earth." Something in her tone made Vrexmuth look uncertain. "What do you mean?" "I mean that my government will be very interested to learn how the Galactic Council really feels about human lives." Back on the Harmony, Lee Hyun finally got his connection to Earth Command. General Kim Tae-ho's face appeared on the secure screen. "Captain," Kim Tae-ho said, "I know why you are calling." "The answer is no." "Sir, 50,000 people? I know." "How many people? Do you think I don't care about them?" Lee Hyun could see the pain in the general's eyes. This was not easy for anyone. "Then let me help them," Lee Hyun said. "The Harmony has enough firepower to scatter that alien fleet. They would never see it coming. And then what?" Kim Tae-ho asked. "The aliens learn that we have been lying to them for decades. They realize that every peaceful human ship is actually a warship in disguise." "What do you think happens next?" Lee Hyun was quiet for a moment. War, Kim Tae-ho agreed. "A big war. Maybe the biggest war the galaxy has ever seen. Is that what you want?" "I want to save those people." "So do I, but I also have to think about the 8 billion people on Earth and the millions more on other human colonies. If we reveal ourselves now, before we are ready, we might lose everything." The connection ended. Lee Hyun sat alone in his quarters, listening to the emergency signals from Kepler 442b getting weaker. On the planet, the alien ships were landing. Hanjiwoo watched from the command center as Vorthik and Zilithian soldiers poured out of their transports. They were not here to occupy the colony. They were here to loot it. "All units," she said into her communicator, "make them work for every building. Don't throw your lives away, but make them remember that humans do not give up easily." The first explosions lit up the night sky. Human security forces with small weapons were fighting alien soldiers with military gear. It was brave, but hopeless. "Administrator," said Park Jin-woo, "we're getting reports from all sectors. They're killing everyone they find. Even the people who surrender." Hanjiwoo closed her eyes. She had failed. She had not been able to protect her people. "Send one final message to Earth," she said. "Tell them what happened here. Tell them the aliens don't just want our territory, they want us dead." The command center shook as alien weapons hit it. Through the smoke and fire, Hanjiwoo could see Vorthik soldiers breaking down the door. Her last transmission reached Captain Lee Hyun just as the command center went dark. He listened to Hanjawa's final words and felt something break inside him. "Lieutenant Commander Yoon," he called. "Yes, sir?" "I want you to record everything that happens at Kepler 442b, every atrocity. Every murder, every building they destroy. Get it all. Sir, our orders are to maintain distance. I'm changing our orders, Li Haiyan said. If Earth Command wants documentation, they'll get it. Every human on Earth is going to see exactly what the aliens do to our people. Unknown to the attacking aliens, every human ship was equipped with advanced recording technology. They thought no one was watching. They were wrong. Humanity was watching. And humanity was remembering. Ambassador Park Gina walked into the great chamber of the Galactic Council with a datapad in her hand and ice in her eyes. The alien delegates were chatting among themselves, expecting another routine human complaint. They had no idea that everything was about to change. I request an emergency session of the full council, Park Gina announced to the speaker. The tall blue alien looked surprised. Ambassador Park, the regular session is not scheduled for another week. What is so urgent that it cannot wait? 50,000 humans are dead, Park Gina said. I would call that urgent. A murmur went through the chamber. Some aliens looked concerned, others looked bored. Warlord Gextar was examining his claws like the conversation did not interest him. Very well, said the speaker. The council recognizes Ambassador Park Gina of Earth. Park Gina walked to the center of the chamber. She did not move like a diplomat anymore. Her steps were measured and precise like a soldier marching the battle. For 37 years, she began, humanity has sought peaceful coexistence with the species of this galaxy. We have followed your laws. We have respected your territories. We have absorbed your insults and forgiven your mistakes. She activated her datapad. The chamber's main screen lit up with images from Kepler 442b, burning buildings, dead civilians, alien soldiers looting homes. Yesterday, a combined force of Vorthek and Zilithian ships attacked the human colony on Kepler 442b. This was not a military target. It was a mining colony. Families lived there. Children played in those streets. The images changed. Now they showed alien soldiers executing humans who had already surrendered. The chamber fell silent. These people died because you told us that strength matters more than justice. Because you told us to learn our place? Because you think humans are weak? Park Gina's voice was getting colder with each word. Several aliens shifted uncomfortably in their seats. Effective immediately, all attacks on human colonies, ships, or citizens will be met with proportional response. We are giving you one final opportunity to cease hostilities and enter good faith negotiations. Warlord Gextar stood up. His massive form towered over the human ambassador. What will you do, human? Send more strongly worded messages? Show us more pictures of your dead? The other aliens joined in what sounded like laughter. To them, this was still the same old human pattern. Complain, demand justice, threaten consequences that never came. Park Gina smiled. It was not a friendly smile. We will stop pretending to be sophisticated. The laughter died. Something about her tone made even Gextar pause. What does that mean? Asked Counselor Vrexmuth. You will find out, Park Gina said. She turned and walked out of the chamber, leaving behind a room full of confused aliens on Earth. President Moon Dae-sung was meeting with his top military commanders in the secure bunker beneath Seoul. The room was filled with holographic displays, showing star charts, fleet positions, and weapon systems. The ambassador has delivered the ultimatum, reported General Kim Tae-ho. How do you want to proceed, Mr. President? President Moon looked older than his 60 years. The weight of leading humanity through its first real galactic crisis showed on his face. How many humans have died in alien attacks over the past 5 years? He asked. 87,412, replied Defense Secretary Kong Yuri without checking her notes. She had memorized every number. And how many times have we asked nicely for it to stop? 43 formal protests. 16 emergency council sessions, 9 direct diplomatic contacts with alien governments, and the result? The attacks are getting worse. More organized. They are not just random raids anymore. This is systematic. President Moon nodded slowly. Admiral Song, what is the status of the Ghost Fleet? Admiral Song Hannah was a small woman with sharp eyes. She had been planning this moment for 20 years. All ships are in position, Mr. President. We have stealth vessels within striking distance of every major Vorthek and Zilithian military installation. They have no idea we are there. Dr. Lee, are the orbital platforms ready? Dr. Lee Kang-min was in charge of Project Prometheus, Earth's kinetic bombardment system. Hidden platforms in deep space could drop metal rods onto any target in the galaxy with the force of nuclear weapons. The targeting solutions are complete, sir. We can hit any target within 72 hours in our regular fleet. Standing by, said Admiral Song. But, sir, once we reveal our true capabilities, there is no going back. The entire galaxy will know that we have been lying to them. President Moon stood up and walked to the window that looked out over Seoul. Millions of people lived in this city. Billions more lived across Earth and the human colonies. They were all counting on him to keep them safe. General Kim, he said without turning around, what do you think the aliens will do when they realize what we really are? Some will try to make peace immediately, Kim Tae-ho replied. Others will try to destroy us before we can destroy them. It will probably lead to war. A war we can win? Yes, sir. Easily, President Moon turned back to his commanders. Then give me the authorization codes. It's time to stop pretending. Meanwhile, on the agricultural world of New Jeju, Planetary Governor Oh Ji-an was having dinner with her family when the attack warning came through. 3 Vorthek raiders had appeared in the system and were heading straight for the colony. Mom, what's happening? Asked her 12-year-old daughter Kim Nari. Nothing for you to worry about, sweetheart, Oh Ji-an said calmly. Just go to your room and pack a bag. We might need to go to the underground shelters for a while. New Jeju was different from other human colonies. It was one of the test sites where Earth had experimented with new defensive technologies. The farmers and their families knew this, but they had been sworn to secrecy. Commander Park Jin-woo was the head of colonial security. He was also a retired Earth military officer who had volunteered for this assignment. As he watched the Vorthek ships approach, he felt almost sorry for them. All civilians to the shelters, he announced over the colony's communication system. Security teams to positions. Remember, we are just simple farmers defending our homes. The Vorthek ships landed in the main farming area. Dozens of alien soldiers poured out, expecting to find scared humans hiding in their houses. Instead, they found empty fields and quiet buildings. Where are they? Growled the Vorthek squad leader. The sensors showed thousands of humans here. Maybe they ran away, suggested another soldier. Humans are cowards. That was when Commander Park Jin-woo activated the colony's real defenses. The farming equipment, scattered around the fields, suddenly came to life. Machines that looked like tractors opened up to reveal missile launchers. Irrigation systems turned out to be disguised gun turrets. Even the grain silos were actually weapons platforms. The Vorthek raiders found themselves in a killing field. Designed by Earth's best military engineers, the battle lasted exactly 7 minutes and 32 seconds. No alien survived, but one of their ships managed to send a distress signal before it was destroyed. Back in Vorthek space, Warlord Gekstar received the emergency transmission. He could not believe what he was hearing. A small human farming colony had destroyed an entire raiding party. This is impossible, he said to his advisors. Humans are weak. They have no military technology. The transmission is clear, my lord, replied his intelligence officer. All 3 ships were destroyed. The weapons the humans used were far more advanced than anything in our records. Gekstar's red eyes glowed brighter with rage. Then we will show them what real military power looks like. Prepare the second battle fleet, 200 ships. We will turn this human world into space dust. My lord, perhaps we should investigate first. No investigation, Gekstar roared. I am tired of human defiance. We will make an example that the entire galaxy will remember. On New Jeju, Commander Park Jin-woo was cleaning up after the battle when he received a priority message from Earth Command. Commander, our deep space sensors are detecting a large Vorthak fleet heading your way. 200 ships. Estimated arrival in 6 hours, Park Jinwoo smiled. Understood, Command. Request permission to engage. Permission granted. Show them what happens when they attack our people. Park Jinwoo walked to his command center and activated a communication system that had been waiting 20 years to be used. UES Retribution, this is New Jeju Colony. We have incoming hostiles. Are you in position? The answer came from empty. Space above the planet. This is Captain Shin Yuna of the Retribution. We are ready. Let them come. To any alien sensors, the space around New Jeju looked empty. There was just one small human ship, probably a transport or supply vessel. The Vorthak fleet would arrive expecting an easy victory. They were about to learn the first lesson of the new age. Humanity had stopped pretending to be weak. In the Galactic Council chamber. Intelligence Officer Vrexkala was studying reports about human military capabilities. What he found made no sense. According to every database in the galaxy, humans had almost no weapons. Their ships were designed for exploration and trade. Their colonies had basic defenses at best, but the images from Kepler 442b showed something different. The human ships that had recorded the massacre were equipped with sensors far more advanced than anything aliens had seen. And now a human farming colony had destroyed 3 Vorthak raiders. There is something we are missing, he told H. The Vorthak second battle fleet dropped out of hyperspace around New Jeju like a swarm of angry wasps. 200 warships, each one the size of a city block, moved into attack formation. Their weapons were already charging, ready to turn the human colony into burning rubble. Warlord Gextar stood on the bridge of his flagship, watching the peaceful world grow larger on his screens. Rolling green fields stretched to the horizon. Small towns dotted the landscape. It looked exactly like what it was supposed to be, a simple farming colony. Scan for defensive systems, he ordered his weapons officer. I am detecting minimal defenses, my lord. Some small shield generators around the towns. A few gun emplacements that appear to be for asteroid defense. Nothing that could threaten our fleet. And their ships? Only one vessel in orbit, my lord. It appears to be a small transport or cargo ship. Gextar laughed. One ship? Against 200? The humans have truly lost their minds. He opened a communication channel to the planet. Humans, this is Warlord Gextar of the Vorthak Empire. You killed my warriors. Now you will pay the price. Surrender immediately or watch your world burn. The response came from the single human ship in orbit. A woman's voice, calm and professional. This is Captain Shin Yuna of the UES Retribution. I am authorized to offer you one chance to withdraw. Leave the system immediately and return to Vorthak space. The Vorthak bridge crew erupted in laughter. One small human ship was threatening their entire fleet? Human, Gextar said. You are either very brave or very stupid. I will give you 30 seconds to retreat before I destroy you. I gave you your chance, Captain Shin replied. Computer, drop stealth masking. The space around New Jeju suddenly changed. What had looked like empty space was now filled with the massive bulk of a human dreadnought. The Retribution was 3 times the size of Gextar-S flagship and covered in weapons that the Vorthak sensors could not even identify. Impossible, whispered the Vorthak weapons officer. Where did it come from? But Gextar was not easily intimidated. It is just one ship, all vessels open fire. 200 Vorthak warships unleashed their weapons at the same time. Plasma cannons, missile launchers, and particle beams all focused on the human dreadnought. The space around the Retribution lit up like a small sun. When the light faded, the human ship was still there. Its shields had absorbed the entire attack without even flickering. Our turn, said Captain Shin Yuna. The Retribution opened fire with weapons that should not have existed. Beams of coherent energy that could cut through a planet's crust. Missiles that moved faster than light and could track targets across entire star systems. Kinetic projectiles that hit with the force of small asteroids. The first wave of Vorthak ships simply disappeared. They did not explode or break apart. They were there one moment and gone the next, converted to atoms by weapons beyond alien understanding. "Evasive maneuvers!" screamed Gextar. "All ships, scatter!" But the human weapons tracked them with impossible accuracy. The Retribution moved through the Vorthak fleet like a shark through a school of fish. Every shot found its target. Every target was destroyed. "How are they doing this?" demanded the Vorthak tactical officer. "Their technology should not be this advanced." Gextar was beginning to understand. "We have been deceived. The humans have been lying to us for decades." 17 minutes after the battle began, it was over. The proud second battle fleet of the Vorthak Empire was nothing but expanding clouds of debris. Only Gextar's flagship remained, its engines destroyed and its weapons offline. Captain Shin Yuna opened a communication channel. "Warlord Gextar, you are now a prisoner of war. Prepare to be boarded. I will never surrender to humans." Gextar roared. "You already have," Shin replied calmly. "You just don't realize it yet." Meanwhile, across the galaxy, Admiral Song Hana's Ghost Fleet was emerging from stealth at 3 major Vorthak military installations. The aliens had never detected the human ship's approach. Their first warning was when their space stations began to explode. At the Vorthak naval base on Krex Prime, Admiral Vextar was reviewing reports of the attack on New Jeju when his own base came under fire. Invisible human ships materialized around the massive space dock, their weapons already firing. "Red alert!" he shouted. "All ships launch immediately," but it was too late. The human stealth ships had positioned themselves perfectly. Every Vorthak vessel was destroyed before it could leave the dock. The space station's defensive systems lasted exactly 43 seconds against human military technology. At the same time, Dr. Li Kangmin was activating the Prometheus orbital platforms. Hidden throughout Vorthak space, these weapons had been waiting patiently for 20 years. Now they opened fire with kinetic projectiles that traveled at significant fractions of light speed. The Vorthak fortress world of Grimdar had been considered impregnable. Its surface was covered with military installations protected by energy shields and buried deep underground. It would have taken a normal fleet months to crack its defenses. The kinetic bombardment lasted 15 minutes. When it was over, Grimdar was a ball of molten glass orbiting its star on New Jeju. Commander Lim Tae-young was leading a boarding party onto Gextar's crippled flagship. His Marines were wearing power armor that made them look like metal giants. Their weapons could cut through alien hull material like paper. The Vorthak crew tried to resist, but it was hopeless. Human soldiers moved through their ship like ghosts, appearing from nowhere and disappearing just as quickly. Their armor shrugged off weapons that could destroy buildings. "Secure the bridge," Commander Lim ordered. "I want their command crew alive for questioning." Gextar was waiting for them with his personal guard. The Vorthak warlord was still massive and intimidating, but now he looked at the human soldiers with something he had never felt before: fear. "You are not what you pretended to be," he said as the human Marines surrounded him. "No," agreed Commander Lim, "we are not. Why did you hide this? Why pretend to be weak? Because we hoped you could be reasoned with. We wanted to find a place in the galaxy without having to conquer it." Gextar laughed bitterly. "And now? Now you have shown us that reason does not work. So we will use the methods that do work." The Vorthak warlord was taken into custody along with his surviving crew. They would be questioned about Vorthak military capabilities and then imprisoned. Until the war was over, back on Earth, President Moon Daesung was receiving reports from across the galaxy. In 6 hours, humanity had destroyed 3 major alien military installations, captured dozens of enemy ships, and demonstrated weapons technology that was decades ahead of anything the aliens possessed. "Casualties?" he asked General Kim Tai-ho. "None, sir. Not a single human ship was even damaged. And the aliens? The Vorthak military has been effectively destroyed. They have no significant fleet remaining. Their fortress worlds are gone, their commanders are dead or captured." President Moon nodded grimly. And the other alien races? Panic, reported Intelligence Director Choi Soman. Every government in the galaxy is trying to figure out what just happened. Most of them are recalling their fleets and preparing for defensive positions. Good, send a message to the Galactic Council. Tell them we are ready to discuss the new terms of galactic coexistence. On Nexus Prime, Ambassador Park Gina was in her quarters when the reports started coming in. Images of destroyed Vorthak fleets. Video of human soldiers in impossible armor. Recordings of alien commanders surrendering to forces they could not comprehend. Her personal communicator chimed. It was a message from Earth Command. Ambassador Park, you are requested to address the Galactic Council at your earliest convenience. The topic will be humanity's terms for continued peaceful coexistence. Park Gina smiled. After 37 years of being dismissed and ignored, she was finally going to have the aliens' full attention. She walked to her window and looked out. At the space around Nexus Prime, alien ships were fleeing in all directions, their crews terrified that the humans might decide to attack the neutral station. They had no idea that humanity was still committed to peace, but now peace would come. On human terms, the masquerade was over. The galaxy had seen what humans really were when they stopped pretending to be civilized. Some aliens would accept the new reality and learn to work with humanity. Others would resist and discover why that was a very bad idea. Either way, the age of humans being victims was finished. From now on, when aliens thought about attacking human colonies, they would remember what happened to the Vorthak Empire, and they would think twice. In his cell aboard the Retribution, Warlord Gextar stared at the metal walls and wondered how everything had gone so wrong. A few hours ago, he had commanded one of the most powerful fleets in the galaxy. Now he was a prisoner of a species he had thought was weak and helpless. Guard, he called to the human soldier outside his cell. What do you want? The soldier replied. How long have you been preparing for this? The soldier was quiet for a moment. Since before I was born, since before my parents were born, we have been getting ready for this day since we first met aliens. All this time you have been lying to us. No, the soldier said. We have been hoping you would prove us wrong, that you could be better than what you are, but you couldn't. Gextar understood now. Humans had not hidden their strength because they... Fleet Admiral Zixandra of the Zilithian Consortium stood before the Emergency War Council with absolute confidence. Around the crystalline table sat the most powerful leaders of her species, their bioluminescent skin patterns flickering with anxiety. The Vorthak were fools, she declared, her voice carrying the authority of someone who had never lost a battle. They underestimated the humans because they are brutes who only understand direct force. We Zilithians are smarter. Supreme Director Kylemeth leaned forward, his skin pulsing with worried blue patterns. Admiral, the reports from Vorthak space are disturbing. Their entire military was destroyed in a matter of hours. By a handful of human ships using surprise tactics, Zixandra replied dismissively. The humans revealed their hand too early. Now we know what they are capable of, we can plan accordingly. She activated the holographic display in the center of the room. It showed the Sol system with Earth at its center, surrounded by what appeared to be normal civilian traffic and orbital stations. Our intelligence indicates that the humans have perhaps 50 of these advanced warships. Impressive for a young species, but not enough to fight a real war against established powers. But their technology, began another council member, is clearly stolen or bought from older races, Zixandra interrupted. Humans have been in space for less than 40 years. They cannot have developed such weapons on their own. Someone has been supplying them, probably in secret. This made sense to the council members. The Zilithian Consortium had been a spacefaring civilization for over 3,000 years. The idea that upstart humans could surpass them technologically was impossible to accept. I propose we end this threat immediately, Zixandra continued. We assemble our grand fleet, 500 of our finest ships, and strike directly at Earth, destroy their homeworld, and their scattered colonies will surrender within days. Supreme Director Kyle Myth's skin patterns shifted to contemplative green. You believe we can succeed where the Vorthak failed? The Vorthak attacked a single defended colony with 200 ships. We will attack their undefended homeworld with 500. The mathematics are simple. What Zixandra did not know was that human intelligence had been monitoring Zilithian communications for years. Director Choi Soman was reading the transcript of their War Council meeting from her office in Seoul, barely 6 hours after it had taken place. "They're really going to do it," she said to General Kim Tae-ho over the secure communication link. 500 ships heading straight for Earth. "Good," Kim Tae-ho replied. "It's time the galaxy learned the difference between our outer defenses and our real military. Are you sure we're ready for this? 500 ships is a lot more than what we faced at New Jeju," Kim Tae-ho smiled grimly. "Soman, we have been preparing for this exact scenario for 40 years. The Zilithians are about to receive the education of their lives." 3 days later, the Zilithian Grand Fleet dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Sol system. 500 warships, each one a masterpiece of Zilithian engineering, moved in perfect formation toward the small blue planet that was humanity's homeworld. Fleet. Admiral Zixandra studied the tactical displays from her flagship bridge. Sensors. Report. I am detecting normal civilian traffic around Earth, Admiral. Cargo ships, passenger transports, a few orbital construction projects. No sign of major military vessels. Excellent. The humans are not expecting us. Tactical Officer Veltar looked up from his station with confusion. Admiral, I am detecting some unusual readings from the outer planets. What kind of readings? Energy signatures from Mars and the asteroid belt. Also from several of the larger moons. It could be industrial activity, but the power levels seem very high. Zixandra waved dismissively. Mining operations. Humans are known for their industrial expansion. Focus on Earth's defenses. I am detecting approximately 40 orbital platforms around Earth. They appear to be civilian space stations and communication relays. Weapons? None visible, Admiral. If the humans have military defenses, they are very well hidden. Zixandra allowed herself a moment of satisfaction. The human homeworld was defenseless, just as she had predicted. This would be the easiest victory of her career. All ships begin final approach to Earth. Prepare to enter bombardment range. That was when Space Marshal Chin Won-woo, commanding from Luna Base, decided it was time to drop the pretense. All stations, this is Luna Command. We have hostile aliens approaching Earth. Activate Protocol Omega. Show them what humanity really is. Across the Sol system, the transformation began. The civilian space stations around Earth suddenly unfolded into massive weapons platforms. Each one was larger than a Zilithian battleship and bristling with cannons that could crack continents. The moon itself began to open like a flower. The surface that had appeared to be mining installations and research bases revealed itself as the largest fortress in human space. Railguns the size of city blocks emerged from hidden bunkers. Missile silos that had been disguised as geological features prepared to launch. Mars, which the Zilithians had assumed was being terraformed, dropped its camouflage. The entire planet was a military installation. Weapons that could manipulate. Gravity itself powered up along the equator. The polar ice caps turned out to be cooling systems for energy. Weapons that drew power directly from the planet's core. Even the asteroid belt was not what it seemed. Hundreds of mining stations revealed themselves as automated defense platforms. The Zilithians found themselves surrounded by weapons they could not have imagined. "Admiral!" shouted Veltar, his voice cracking with panic. "I am reading massive energy spikes throughout the system. There are weapons everywhere." Zixandra stared at the tactical display in disbelief. Where moments ago she had seen a lightly defended system, there were now thousands of military installations. The power readings were off the scale. "This is impossible," she whispered. "How did they hide all of this?" "Admiral, I am detecting 50 ships approaching from the outer system. Only 50 against our 500? "Admiral, these ships Veltar paused, struggling to interpret his readings. They are enormous. Each one is reading as large as one of our space stations. The human fleet that emerged from stealth was unlike anything the Zilithians had ever seen. 50 dreadnoughts, each one a kilometer long and armed with weapons that seemed to bend reality itself. Captain Ko Siong commanded the lead ship, the UES Indomitable. She opened a communication channel to the Zilithian fleet. Zilithian vessels, this is Captain Ko Siong of the Earth Defense Force. You have entered Sol System with hostile intent. You have one opportunity to surrender unconditionally. Zixandra found her voice. Human, you cannot threaten us. We have 500 ships. You have 500 targets, Ko Siong replied calmly. Choose wisely. You have 60 seconds. Zixandra's tactical training took over. Even with all these hidden weapons, the numbers still favored the Zilithians. 500 ships against 50, plus the stationary defenses. They could win this if they struck quickly. All ships, open fire. Destroy the human fleet before they can coordinate with their planetary defenses. The Zilithian Grand Fleet unleashed everything they had. Energy beams, missile salvos, and plasma charges filled the space between the fleets. It was the largest coordinated attack in Zilithian military history. The human response was immediate and devastating. Admiral Zheng Hozong activated Earth's orbital defense grid. The 40 civilian platforms around Earth revealed their true nature as they opened fire with weapons that converted matter directly into energy. Each shot could destroy a Zilithian battleship with a single hit. Engineer Specialist Ruminju powered up Earth's planetary shield. Instead of simply deflecting the alien attacks, the shield absorbed them and channeled the energy into even more powerful weapons. Every shot the Zilithians fired made humanity stronger. The lunar rail guns fired projectiles at 10% of light speed. Each round carried the kinetic energy of a small nuclear weapon. The Martian gravity manipulators created distortion fields that crushed alien ships like tin cans, but it was the human fleet that delivered the killing blow. Captain Ko Siong's dreadnoughts opened fire with weapons that should not have existed. Beams that could cut through space itself. Missiles that existed in multiple dimensions simultaneously. Kinetic rounds that struck with the force of asteroid impacts. The battle lasted 47 minutes. When it was over, the Zilithian Grand Fleet no longer existed. Zixandra found herself trapped on the bridge of her heavily damaged flagship, the only ship in her fleet still capable of life support. Around her, the space that had once contained 500 proud warships was filled with expanding clouds of debris. Admiral, said Veltar weakly, we are being hailed. Dr. Yang Xiujin's face appeared on the main screen. He was the head of human xenogology research, and his expression was that of a disappointed teacher. Admiral Zixandra, I am Dr. Yang Xiujin. I will be conducting your debriefing. What do you want, human? I want you to understand something very important, Yang replied. You assumed we were like you, that we showed you our greatest strength. You were wrong. What you have seen today is not our military at its peak. It is our military restrained. Zixandra could not speak. Restrained? This overwhelming display of power was humanity holding back? For 40 years. The emergency session of the Galactic Council was unlike any meeting in the organization's 1,000-year history. Representatives from every major species sat in stunned silence as the reports came in. The Vorthic Empire, destroyed. The Zilithian Consortium, surrendered. 2 of the galaxy's most powerful military forces had been eliminated in less than a week. Supreme Chancellor Yexmiron called for order with trembling hands. The Council recognizes Ambassador Park Gina of Earth. Park Gina walked to the center of the chamber, but she was not alone this time. General Kim Taiho walked beside her, wearing the full dress uniform of Earth's military. Behind them came Fleet Admiral Cho Yonjin, his chest covered with medals from battles the aliens had never known were fought. The chamber was packed. Every species in the galaxy had sent representatives. They needed to understand what had happened and what it meant for their future. Honored delegates, Park Gina began. You asked us why we hid our true nature. The answer is simple. We hoped you could be reasoned with. She activated the chamber's main display. Images appeared showing human colonies before and after alien attacks, burning buildings, dead civilians, children's toys scattered in the ruins of homes. For 37 years, we documented every attack, every insult. Every time you told us to learn our place. We could have responded to the first raid by destroying your homeworlds. Instead, we tried diplomacy. General Kim Tae-ho stepped forward. We are not like you. When humans evolved on Earth, we did not start as the dominant species. We had to fight for every advantage. We had to be smarter, faster, and more ruthless than everything that wanted to kill us. The holographic display changed to show Earth's history. Images of early humans hunting creatures 10 times their size. Cities rising from nothing, wars that reshaped continents. Technology advancing at impossible speeds. We conquered our own planet through superior strategy and overwhelming force. We have been preparing for stellar warfare since before we achieved faster-than-light travel. Counselor Vrexmuth of the Krillian Federation stood up shakily. But why hide this? Why pretend to be peaceful? Because we wanted to be better than our nature, Park Gina replied. We looked at the galaxy and saw the possibility of something greater than endless war. We hoped we could find allies instead of enemies. Admiral Cho Yonjin's voice was cold when he spoke. You mistook our restraint for weakness. You mistook our mercy for inability. You forced us to show you what we really are. In the silence that followed, Supreme Chancellor Yex Myron asked the question everyone was thinking. What do you want from us now? Dr. Seungmin Jae, Earth's chief historian and xenobiologist, stepped forward. We want what we have always wanted. Peace, but now peace will come on our terms. The display showed a new galactic map. Human space had expanded dramatically, incorporating former Vorthic and Zilithian territories. Trade routes now centered on Earth and its colonies. Human patrol fleets moved through space that had once belonged to alien empires. The Human Colonial Authority will now oversee galactic security, Dr. Seung announced. All military conflicts between species must be approved by human mediators. All territorial disputes will be settled by human arbitrators. And if we refuse? Asked a delegate from the Krillian Federation. The answer came from Captain Amieji, who had been standing quietly in the shadows. Then you will join the Vorthak and Zilithians in extinction. To demonstrate her point, she activated a small device. The chamber's sensors immediately detected dozens of human ships that had been hiding in stealth around Nexus Prime, ships that could have destroyed the entire station at any moment. We are everywhere, Captain Am said simply. We have been watching. All of you for decades. We know your weaknesses. We know your military capabilities. We know where your leaders sleep at night. The alien delegates looked around nervously. How long have humans been spying on them? What else did they know? Prime Minister Kexler of the Krillian Federation tried to salvage some dignity from the situation. You expect us to simply surrender our sovereignty? To accept human rule without question? Not rule, corrected peace negotiator Ban Haijin as she stepped forward. Partnership, but partnership as junior members. She distributed data tablets to the alien representatives. These contain the terms for galactic coexistence under human protection. You will find them generous but non-negotiable. The terms were, indeed, generous. Alien species could keep their governments and their cultures. They could continue to trade and explore. But all military activities would be supervised by humans. All conflicts would be mediated by humans. All major decisions affecting galactic security would require human approval. This is not negotiation, protested Kexler. This is conquest. No, said Park Gina quietly. Conquest would have been what happened to the Vorthic and Zilithians. This is survival, your survival. She looked around the chamber at all the alien faces. Some showed anger, others showed fear. A few showed resignation. We are offering you the chance to coexist peacefully under human protection. The alternative is to be eliminated as threats to galactic stability. The choice is yours. One by one? The alien delegates agreed to the terms. They had seen what happened to those who fought humanity. None of them wanted their species to become another cautionary tale. 5 years later, President Moon Dae-sung stood on the observation deck of New Seoul Station, orbiting the rebuilt colony of New Bizen. Through the transparent aluminum windows, he could see human and alien workers constructing new buildings together. The galaxy had changed dramatically. Trade flourished under human protection. Former enemies now worked as partners in joint ventures. The Galactic Council still existed, but it now served as an advisory body to the human colonial authority. "Mr. President," said his aide, "Director Choi has the monthly security report." Director Choi Soman entered the observation lounge with a satisfied expression. "No major incidents to report, sir. 3 minor territorial disputes were resolved through mediation. The former Vorthak worlds are adapting well to human administration. Even the Krillians seem to be accepting the new reality. And resistance movements? Minimal and ineffective. Most alien species have realized that cooperation brings prosperity while resistance brings destruction. The few groups that still oppose us lack the resources to pose a real threat." President Moon nodded. "It was not the future humanity had originally hoped for, but it was a stable one. Any word from the exploration fleets? Captain Lee Hyen's expedition has made contact with 3 new species beyond the galactic rim. All of them have been offered the choice between peaceful integration and military conquest. 2 have already agreed to join the colonial authority. And the 3rd? They are still considering their options. But they have seen the historical records. I expect they will make the wise choice." President Moon smiled slightly. The galaxy had learned that humanity was not the peaceful, harmless species they had pretended to be. But they had also learned that humans were not unnecessarily cruel. Species that accepted human leadership found themselves protected and prosperous. Those that resisted simply ceased to exist. On the bridge of the patrol ship UES Vigilant, Captain Lee Hyen was reading his final log entry of the day. His ship was one of hundreds that now patrolled the galaxy, ensuring that the peace was maintained. "Personal log, day 1823 since the revelation," he said to the recording device. "The galaxy remains stable, under human protection. Trade between species is at an all-time high. Military conflicts have decreased by 97% since the establishment of the colonial authority." He paused, looking out at the stars. "We tried to be the species that brought peace to the galaxy through diplomacy and goodwill. When that failed, we became the species that brought peace through strength and fear. Perhaps that is who we were, always meant to be." On Earth, in the memorial garden built where Kepler 442b once stood, families placed flowers at the wall containing the names of all the humans who had died in alien attacks. 87,412 names were carved into the black stone dot at the bottom of the memorial. A simple inscription read, "They died believing in peace. We live ensuring it." The galaxy was peaceful now. Not because all species had learned to love each other, but because all species had learned to fear the consequences of war. It was not the peace humanity had originally wanted, but it was the peace they had earned, and in the depths of space, human ships continued their eternal patrol, ready to remind anyone who might forget that the age of humanity pretending to be civilized was over forever. The masquerade had ended. The galaxy had seen what humans really were beneath their diplomatic smiles and peaceful words. Some called them conquerors. Others called them protectors. But everyone called them the rulers of known space. And that, perhaps, had always been humanity's destiny among the stars.